Shut up and sit down.
Hello folks, Colin here, Festa 67's workshop. Welcome to issue 84 of Build Your Own Ford Mustang Shelby GT500 from the year 1967. Brought to you from our good old mates over at DeAgostini. Now, if you'd like to grab this 1/6 scale Ford Mustang, folks, and who wouldn't, look at the colour, head over to their website. There's a clickable link in the description below. And you too can be building one of these yourselves, folks. So let's have a scoot through this week's magazine and see what we're up to. All American there, it says police motorcycles. This is the Harley Davidson Electro Glides. Stalwart of American policing they are. You see them everywhere when you're out there. Got a very distinctive agricultural sound to them. New Jersey police officer there, in a 1930s Harley Davidson there. BMW with its model R1200 has been a major supplier of motorcycles in the United States as well. What we're up to today is putting the steering column and the steering wheel together, folks, with all our switches and wiring and all of that lot. So we'll need to pay attention today to our switch numbers, which are clearly on the labels there, and obviously the positioning as well. I might break out a little bit of super glue just to double secure me switches in place, because if I remember when I built Eleanor, they had a tendency to move backwards very slightly. You can also put a little piece of card behind it or something just to give it a bit of resistance. So that's what we're up to. Quite concise instructions there, easy to follow. I've gone ahead and done step 8, which is pushing the stepped end of the steering column into the centre interface. And the step determines the orientation of the insertion of the steering wheel, folks. And it just basically is the steel rod that goes in, which is just there. But you need a hammer to do it. And it's quite a resistance fit, so I've gone ahead and knocked mine in with hammer. Okay, just literally put it on something. I used a little bit, one of those from my printer, and I just literally stuck that on the boss and used that to tap it down, just to stop the steering boss itself from bending. And the eagle-eyed will also notice that in the photos, it's a very light wooden steering wheel, and I kind of didn't like it. So I did on mine what I did with Eleanor. I did a wood grain effect paint job. Hopefully it's coming out on camera, but it is there, and it's just darkened it up nicely for me. And when that's on the model, you can quite clearly see all wood grain around the sides here and all of that lot. I like it. It works for me. So, yeah, I'll try and take some pictures because I don't know whether it's coming out on the phone camera that well. Shows you quite clearly how to line the column up. You're going to need the interior that we've been putting together, the seat section, so that we can then fit this column into it, ready to marry it up in later issues, folks, okay? This is the Ford Falcon, which was an incredible rally car in its time. In '63, these photos were taken. That one in '64, and this is the Monte Carlo street circuit in 1963, folks, yes. This is the Falcon Futura sprints during preparation at Alan Mann's workshops in the Monte Carlo rally there. And this is Henri Greda driving one of the full France Falcons. There you go. Give these a read. There's loads of blurb in there and information. This is the 4.7 litre 285 horsepower V8 engine used in the 1964 version. That's a bit of a pocket rocket, folks, isn't it? So there you go. That's the magazine done. So we'll grab all of our parts and we'll start assembling this steering wheel up. All right, folks, I've got my magazine just to the side. First up, we want this bracket. 84F, we want it that way round, okay? And then we want switches numbers 5 and 6 to start with. So let's grab 5. And number 5 is going in here, like that, okay? That's where it's telling me it needs to go, so that's where I'm going to put it. That's the first one in. We then grab number 6, which is that one. And we'll do the same on there, straight in, that one went. Like so. Then we want number 7, which is going on its own on the opposite side. Okay, so let's grab number 7. Resounding click. And we'll pop that in situ like so. So that's 5, 6, and 7. All right, so that's the 3 wires done. We then want to grab the column parts. And we want to bring in 84G. And 84H, and they go on these little raised pins and just pivot like so. So we want those like that. We then want to put this bracket in place with 2 of the wires on the right and 1 on the left. And we want that to sit with them 2 holes going over the pegs and the switches going in just behind these levers. So that's that one in, that's that one in, and then we want to make sure that the switches activate like that. So that's those in situ. We then want a tinsy wincy PS12 screw to go in. So let's grab that, very tiny, and we'll try and pick this up so that we don't drop anything. I'm going to rest it on the bench just because it's easier for me. Try not to lean on the silver lever if you can help it, and then feed that screw in and home it. Now I can relax because I've got them in. Just check that the switches move, which they do, and then we can have a fiddle with that, just so that it operates just like that. Okay, that's what we want. And then once that steering column goes in there, that will then stop them switches from moving. Cool. And then that switch as well there. Okay. Right. So we now know that that does its thing. We now need to fold these wires down through the column out of the way so that when we put this all together, it will wrap round the column. That's the theory anyway. Okay. We then got another wire to put in, which is cable number 8. And that goes up inside the other half of the column. Okay. So let's grab the other half, which is there. And switch number 8 goes in there. And that's for the yawn. Okay. So we want to bring those 2 halves together now and see how we can get that to close off. So I want to feed that wire a bend in like so. And shove that right down there. And then bring that half in and try and close it all together. Like that is what you want, folks, okay? And just double check the on switch still works, which it does. But I just want now to give that a bit of a better bend. Like so. Now, as that pushes that in, it should do that. Like that is what you want. That'd be my theory. And then we want to join them two halves together then. Okay, and we're putting PS5 screws in. Let's grab another screwdriver bit and bring in some PS05s. Very fiddly stage. Quite cumbersome, but it will go, folks. Can relax now. So let's move those. Now bring in the other one. That's going down in there. Like that. So that's that done. That's the switches in. And then we can feed then the steering wheel through. So we put the post on. And we can now deftly send the steering wheel through. Now bear in mind you want the indicator stalk on that side. And we want to try and get the steering wheel down between all the wires and the switches. And I'm just giving it a little twist as I'm doing it. And then it'll work its way through. It'll find its own place between all the wires. So don't worry about that. And once it's through, it'll be happy like that. Okay? So that's what we want. Now that that's in there, you can hear your switches. Just like so. So that's what we want. We can now press the home button in, which is around here. And that's your Shelby. It can only go into one way. It's like a horseshoe, as you can see. So just give that an alignment. And then we can press that in situ. Like that. And that's then going to press onto that switch. Okay. Just make sure the pegs have gone in, which they have. Perfect. Now we can line that up so that that activates that switch. Just like so. Right. That's now ready to go into the dashboard. So we'll bring that all in. And we can fit that in place. Got a little mounting bracket just there. And what you want to do is you want to fit it with the notch. And the notch itself will go down into a little locating peg. Okay? So that's what you want. Right, yeah, we want the connector on the pillock. So we want that. And that goes which way round? Man of seeingness. Try it that way. And see whether that looks any better. Perfect. That's what we want. Right, let's get our dashboard, and then we can put that column in. Line this column up. So there's our dash section that we've been building for a while now. And we're going down through that hole between the pedals, folks. Okay, the big square one that you can see right down there. That's where we're going, okay? So I'm going to feed me wires through and try and capture them from this side. We're coming through here. Okay? So let's try and feed that through. And I'm cautious or conscious of trying to keep this circle poking upwards at 12 o'clock. So let's bring the wires through first. So we know I've got all of those captured. And then I can lay the steering column as it is. Going through this little square at the front there. I'm going to leave the wires coming up the way. And then there's the circle. And it's coming into this little slot there. Okay. Push it up, it will grip. Then what you want is you want this little circle with this prong facing down, and the prong itself is going right up in there. Just like so. We got to try and hold that whilst lining that hole up. Like that. And it started to bring that in place now. So I'm going to try it with my left hand. Get that tightened. Perfect. So now turn that way. Spin hands. Perfect. There you go. So that's the steering column in. That's the steering wheel turning freely now. Hopefully you can see that wood grain now, see it? I think it looks really nice, myself. And obviously once that's connected to the steering box, column won't move. You've got your switches. That one's working as well. And so is that one. So that's where we are today, folks. Don't forget, if you would like to grab one of these yourselves and build along with me, head over to the DeAgostini website. Bink, there's a link in the description below, and you too can be building one of these. Also, to help me out, you can give little Fester a click in the corner there and subscribe to the channel. I'll be immensely grateful. Also, ring the bell whilst you're there and select all. That way you'll get notified of upcoming content. In the meantime, thank you so much for coming in and keeping me company. Stay safe and well. Bye-bye for now. I think that looks gorgeous.